Hello and welcome to my 5 tips for Lucio guide. This guide is aimed at beginners who want to pick up Lucio and start learning him. He's definitely a really fun, dynamic champion to learn, so let's jump into it. The first tip for Lucio is that he has 2 different modes that are essentially just passive buffs. So the first one is his healing mode, where he's just healing all allies that have line of sight. So you see this bot is taking damage and it's gradually getting healed. It heals allies for 16 health a second, and it heals you for 10 health a second. But if you break line of sight, you can see his color starting to change. As he's taking damage, he's no longer catching heals. But as soon as we regain line of sight, and line of sight could be like this, you don't have to be looking at them. So you can be supporting them while fighting stuff, which is really one of the big upsides of Lucio. He can be passively healing while helping his team deathmatch, and that's really one of his biggest strengths. He also has his E ability, which boosts whichever mode he's on. His other mode is speed. This increases your speed as well as allies' speed. We'll talk about this in a second. But to finish with the first tip for healing, you can heal up to 50 health a second with his boost mode, which boosts the effectiveness. It heals allies for 50 health a second. It heals Lucio for 30 health a second, so you can also use it as a pretty reliable self-heal, and you can always switch to heal mode if you're taking damage and you want to heal. So just really useful to know that. So the second tip is about Lucio's other mode, the speed mode. This increases your speed and allies' speed by 25%. This is really useful for repositioning your entire team for diving or for even retreating, because if you're moving faster, the enemies are going to have a harder time catching you, especially if they're chasing you with a bunch of ults. You can also use your E ability to change his speed boost from 25% to 60, so you're substantially faster. Now, his E ability only lasts for 3 seconds, so when you use the heal or you use the speed increase, it's 50 health per second allies for 3 seconds, 30 health per second you for 3 seconds, and then for speed, it's 60% faster move speed for everyone that's an ally, including you, for 3 seconds. So this can be really useful for escaping, for surviving, for being annoying, for getting in and out. The third tip for Lucio is that he actually has surprisingly high damage. So if you body shot an enemy, you can kill a 200 health class in 3 bursts. However, if you headshot an enemy, you deal insane damage. So if you can track and get headshots, you can melt people, surprisingly. So while you're healing your team, you should be going for headshot bursts and helping them kill things. And you're basically just like passively improving the survivability of your team while also pressuring enemies at range. And you can pressure them at range, especially if you can kind of predict where they're going to go. One of the big upsides of Lucio is the fact that he can wall ride. Now, to wall ride, you just have to be moving at a certain speed and then hold in space. And you can ride right up walls, and you can also jump from wall to wall, which is pretty crazy. Good Lucios are very hard to hit because they're just everywhere. They're just like on walls, jumping around, going really fast. You also gain speed boosts if you continually jump from surface to surface, which is pretty hard to pull off, but if you can do it, you'll start to go faster and faster, which is absolutely insane. You can also climb, and you can basically wall ride as long as there's a surface to wall ride on. So for example, you can just wall ride right around things like this. You can always do stuff like this, get on top of things, and you can also combine, amp it up with wall ride to go really fast. And one thing you can kind of do, you can kind of see here I fell to my death, but sometimes if you get booped off, you can actually find a wall and like slowly ride back up it. And you can also ride up things like this. It's tricky to do, but if you like change direction, here we go. I kind of did it there. There's a way to bug it out so you can kind of like keep going back and forth really fast. Yeah, like this. Yeah, there we go. So you can kind of like, it requires inputs, like you have to like be moving side to side. And it seems to work best when it's on like a plane change, like a corner. Because like, essentially if you jump from one surface to the other, it resets your wall ride. So you can kind of climb corners weirdly like that. So The fifth and final tip for Lucio is that his ult can be kind of like a team fight, get out of jail free card, or counter ult. So like, let's say you have some ally that's about to get ulted, you can speed up them and then give yourself and your team within the radius of this like ult more temporary health. And it's not shield, so it can't be like hacked or removed. Like, it does decay quickly, but it's a really good counter to enemy ults. Just having tons of extra health, really useful for surviving. Can turn a team fight pretty quickly. So it's a very defensive ult. You can use it offensively if you communicate with your team that you're about to Lucio ult and you want them to go crazy. As they're starting to push in, you can hit them with the ult, so that if they were to start taking some damage, or before they take some serious damage, the enemy team should be overwhelmed by the fact that you're all like very tanky. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the 5 basic tips for Lucio. He actually can DM pretty well. He can also be like an assassin. I've seen some Lucios just like hop on speed mode, just get the enemy back lines and pick supports with his insane headshot damage. So you can even do that, but just don't piss your team off. So yeah, that's it for this one. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe if you found this useful. And yeah, see you in the next one.